All right, I want to talk to you a little bit about cutting on the fold. And if you're not cutting on the fold, what that really kind of looks like. And why we have to do certain techniques if you are cutting it single layer. So this is that pattern piece that I made in a video about making your 1/2 piece into a whole piece if you're going to cut it single layer. This is the back that has a center fold mark. You would normally just put it on the fold and cut it out. However, if you do have the luxury of having a space that you can work only one layer, it is much easier to get accuracy in your cutting on a knit in one layer. It is also much easier to make sure that you are identical on both sides, and it can give you the best yield out of your yardage. Because you can see here by doing this, I would have a whole nother length if I opened this up, right? If this part took that, I could probably put 2 fronts on this one underneath. And then the same yardage, because we don't have as much yardage waste. So the same yardage that was taking for only one piece kind of to be done, you probably can get the 2 pieces out of. Okay, so since we've changed that whole thing and we are no longer going to cut single layer, I'm saying that it's much better for your spaces at home to do it on the fold. So what does that mean when we have a piece that actually says place on fold? And now I'm going to make sure I get this really nice and creased back here again on that fold line so that there he is, the arrow. And in this case, I may even do just a little bit of pinning of them together because I want to make sure I get an accurate cut. And I don't want to take it apart because I do want to be able to show someone if they're having a struggle with it, what they need to do. And so I don't want to have to recreate a whole nother full pattern. So I'm just going to I'm pinning the tissue to that brown paper so that it won't warp on me and get off of the fold line. One more down here. So I'm going to move this out of the way for a second. And again, I've positioned my knit. I let it rest, right? So that it has its time to relax back into the shape that it's supposed to be. And I've made sure that over there is nice and straight across, no twists or wrinkles. And now this is my fold, which is this line, right? And we want it on the fold line. We don't want it to be like this even, right? Showing anything. This goes right on that edge, and you do not cut that line. Do not cut there. This is so it'll unfold just like my pattern piece into one back piece. So we do not cut on that line. But because of the sizing that you have, you need to make sure that this edge is right on that line. Right on the edge of the fold. Okay. So now that becomes my grain line. That's why it's very important to make sure it looks great over there and positioned well, while you then can pin this all down or weight it down, however you've been doing to actually get something cut out. Now, the other piece that does this is the band. The hem band has a cut on the fold. And I have already cut that. And let me bring it over just so you can see that this was cut on the fold. Haven't done any of the marking yet, but it was cut on the fold here. And what that does then, open this up a bit, that gives me one long band that forms our bottom part. So if it says center back on fold, it means that you need to put that line right on the folded edge so you have the right size. And we do not cut there. That's left, so it'll be one continuous long piece. Okay, the other thing that I want to demonstrate to you, I'm going to go ahead and get this piece cut out, and I'll be right back because I want to demonstrate what else you need to know if you're going to cut single layer. All right, I'll be back in just a little bit. Hi there. I wanted to add, as I was finishing pulling this away, and there's all those little things holding it together. I know you can't see it that far away, but I did want to tell you why certain fabrics will do this more in knits than others. That happens to be the elasticity of the spandex that's really onto those fibers that makes them harder to actually cut through, especially with the roller blade. So that's why if you have something that has spandex in it, you probably will have more of those little hairy fibers that didn't quite cut the first time with the roller, and you have to come around and snip them. So that's to be expected if you have working with things that have spandex in them. If this didn't have spandex in it, it wouldn't have nearly as many of those little tag-on things. Okay, I'll be back in just a second again. So I'm back, and I set up this little demo experiment here. It just turned my fabric. I opened up a piece here at the end of my yardage, and I'm going to demonstrate this using the hood. So there's my selvage, and my other selvage is over here, right? This is my length, or width rather. And so this arrow would match to one of the selvages if you had it completely laid out. It's only one layer of fabric, right? And let's say I get this lined up and I cut my hood out, right? So I've got one there. And or I've made another pattern piece of this is what will keep you truly clear. But now I need to get the other piece, right? So if I move over here, and now I cut that one out, just like so. And now I have my two pieces of hood for one, either the outside or the inside, right? I've cut it. We need to cut 4 if you're doing the same, right? Or you'd be 2 of one and 2 of a contrast. So now I've got them. So here's a right side that I'm going to be working with, and I'm going to put them together right now to mark them right sides together. Oops, that won't work. You've literally cut 2 of the same piece. So when you're cutting, what you have to do is, so we'll go back to, we'll set this up this again. I'm going to turn this one over. All right. And there was my pattern piece, right? I've lined him all up. I've cut him. But what you need to do is actually do a mirror image of that. So we would be done cutting, and now over here, we have to turn it upside down. Now, notice I also, in other places, if you're cutting 2 thicknesses, like 2 layers with it on the fold and cutting them at the same time, it doesn't matter if you have this side up, which is technically written backwards and it's the wrong side, or if you put it down right side up. But when you do a single layer, you have to always remember to flip the pattern piece if you have to cut another one, so that it will be a mirror image. And now my 2 pieces of hood, right sides together, will work. So remember to always flip your pattern piece if you are cutting single fold. Single layer, not even a fold, single layer. Then I just wanted to reiterate again that there's only 2 pieces cut on the fold. That is the hemband and the back. Now I cut mine all out of the same fabric, no contrast. But if you had rib to cut this out of, let's say you bought a big long by the yardage rib and this will sit in there, then you would do twice this. It's not just one. Don't cut it. Leave it as one and just do another length of it. Lots of times I will just flip it. I'll cut one side to that point, and then I take the pattern piece and lay it over like this, pin it down, and continue cutting. All right, there it is. I'll see you later when we talk about marking it. Till then, bye-bye.